Thank you very much, and thank you for the kind introduction. I decided to come forward a little bit faster so that you wouldn't have to hear my whole life history. But it's great to see so many friends who are connected with this topic here in San Diego and beyond, and I am thrilled to be here. We have come from a variety of industries and fields to focus on the pivotal role of cybersecurity and what it plays in the health of our economy and society. The importance of this issue cannot be overstated in a world where the pernicious threats of terrorism, crime, and the agents of anarchy lurk in the shadows of our democracy. Technology is a constant and growing presence in our lives. While we are well aware of the many benefits our dependence on technology brings, it also makes us more vulnerable to cyber threats. In the utility industry, new technology known as the smart grid is making it possible to embark on the first large-scale transformation of the electrical grid in 100 years. The electric grid is transforming from a traditional infrastructure system of power poles, lines, and substations into a high-tech network that relies on wireless and new cyber technology. This undertaking will not only improve the reliability and the transport of power, it will encourage energy efficiency for consumers and incentivize the usage of clean, renewable energy in our communities. The adoption of smart grid and the integration of renewable energy into the power system are the principal drivers of change for the utility industry at this time. As the utilities become more technologically focused, cybersecurity plays an increasingly pivotal role in ensuring reliability, system integrity, and customer privacy. As the grid evolves, we have to make sure that reliability is maintained and potential threats are anticipated so that energy continues to flow smoothly and reliably to our customers during this great time of change. It is this combination of creating change and maintaining security that I want to discuss with you today. First, let me familiarize you with what is happening in the utility industry by better defining what we mean by the smart grid. The smart grid is not a single technology, but rather a broad range of interconnected, interoperable technologies, including wireless sensor networks, software, and computing that can reduce customer costs, improve efficiency, and enhance the environment that we live in through a number of ways. For the first time, a profound opportunity of an individualized two-way relationship between a household and the utility is born. Through this shared relationship and this sophisticated network, utilities will be able to see how and where electricity is being used and identify potential problem areas for predictive maintenance or design. The smart grid will be more resilient than the current network, automatically restoring service in a self-healing manner. It will do this by applying a vast communication network that can sense the status of the system and send control signals to respond to the vast range of issues or problems. Perhaps even more importantly, the smart grid will help secure important environmental benefits. Through this shared relationship, consumers can see how much energy they are using and be encouraged to become more energy efficient. Research shows that when people know how much they are using, they will reduce their energy use by 5 to 10%. This reduction alone will help cut their energy costs and ease the stress on the grid. Secondly, the new smarter, greener grid will be a greener grid in that it will allow us to integrate the vast amount of renewable energy that is currently being governmentally mandated and that is already in the pipeline for development. An unfortunate little-known fact by many consumers is that renewables are only available when the sun shines or the wind blows. But we as the utility must have our power accessible every second of every day to that customer and every other customer. This challenge requires new technology to ensure power is not interrupted during fluctuation or supply. And we in San Diego know a little bit about that. While the benefits of this new modernized grid are many, it also poses complex challenges. As the many different parts of this new grid start communicating with each other wirelessly and automatically, it provides inroads for potential security issues. That is why we are making a concerted effort to build security solutions into the new technology and the renewable resources that we are adopting. SDG&E's Smart Grid Deployment Plan, including the security measures for the new system, spans through the year of 2020 and costs approximately $3.5 billion. However, the related benefits and the newfound efficiencies in the system will far outweigh these numbers. At the heart of our efforts to adopt the smart grid is our smart meter program. We have already installed nearly all 1.4 million smart meters and are upgrading 850,000 gas meters in our service territory, with only a few commercial customers remaining to complete the smart meter process. These meters are foundational and an enabling technology, which is a critical stepping stone that will help transform our industry. They will provide greater customer awareness and control of energy use, enhance customer service, and derive faster outage detection and response. Our overall vision is to offer new services to customers that they value. Some services we have thought of, and others we can only begin to imagine as we partner with some of our current partners, companies such as General Electric, Google, and IBM. The bottom line is to encourage more energy efficiency and demand response, while achieving operational efficiencies and cost savings for both customers and the company alike. In its essence, this technology offers more choice, control, and convenience. In the future, smart meters and the two-way communications they include will allow homeowners and businesses to leverage home area network functionality. With the home area network, they will be able to control their air conditioning, appliances, home theaters, and lighting remotely, and program their electricity to power up or off automatically. By using the internet and supporting technology, they will be able to access information stored in the smart meters and have greater control over their appliances from either the home or from their workplace. The upshot of all of this is that the smart grid will eventually start changing how we use home appliances, such as refrigerators, pool pumps, and televisions. These appliances, through home area network functionality, will power up when energy is less expensive and power down during times of peak use. The state of California has mandated a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels by the year 2020. Smart meters will play a vital part in meeting that goal. The meters, though advanced notification of pricing and system events, will encourage conservation and off-peak energy usage. We know that the energy not used is the greenest and most cost-effective energy of all. We expect to achieve a reduction of 200 megawatts of demand when all the meters are installed, helping to reduce the need to build more power plants. Security is a vital part of the smart meter program. We rigorously tested our smart meters to make sure they held up from a security standpoint and worked with the supplier to make sure we had the most robust modules available. Another important security issue is that the appliances driven by the home area network technology may be open to viruses just like any other computer. Because these appliances are so new and relatively untested in many cases, we don't have too many examples to go on. However, we are think about potential scenarios now so as to protect the grid in the future. Let me paint a picture of a possible threat. Let's say a hacker wants to harm the electric grid for whatever reason. That person may create a virus emailed to customers that communicates with smart appliances and in some way tells them to turn off at certain times of high energy usage. If enough of these appliances are affected on a hot summer day when the load is already heavy on the grid, the hacker could potentially have a negative impact. Now, nothing like that has happened to the grid, nor do we expect it. But it is the kind of scenario we have to think about as a utility dedicated to providing a reliable and safe flow of electricity. This example also demonstrates the need for industry-wide cooperation to make smart grid security successful. One solution to this potential issue is to work with appliance manufacturers on adopting rigorous security standards from the start. We need to work collaboratively with manufacturers to make sure that they create secure appliances before they are connected to the grid. That will make our whole system more resilient to potential cyber threats. Another part of the solution is to raise awareness among our customers that security is important and that they too have a role in protecting the smart grid. We also have to make sure that the energy usage data that is measured by the smart meters and reflected in home appliances is secure in order to protect customer privacy. This is another core issue for us. An unassailable principle for SDG&E is that we are the custodian of our customers' energy usage and their data, and we will protect it. This is a sacrosanct position for us and one that we will never compromise. The issue arises when third-party manufacturers enter the picture. Many of the smart appliances will be like mini computers that could store usage information in some form or fashion. Each smart appliance could also have an internet connection that needs to be protected. This energy usage data may be valuable to some parties. Perhaps a company wants to sell appliances to customers who they know use a lot of electricity. Those companies may want to access the information to target their potential customers. Again, nothing like this has happened in the real world, but we have to think proactively to neutralize threats before they can happen. SDG&E will protect the privacy of its customers and will not provide energy usage information or allow it to be siphoned from the system. We will continue to advocate for customer privacy when promoting the adoption of the smart grid. We are working on measures to adopt these security standards and require similar levels of security for all appliances that are designed to plug into the smart grid. This is one of the reasons that I am an active advocate for Secure Our eCity and other security interest groups. We need to come to agreement on these issues and stop potential threats before they become issues for our community and our society at large. This cooperation may help secure parts of the system, but once the smart grid is adopted, the sheer number of technological and communications connections will be staggering. Through our system, there will be literally billions of logins and events on the grid. We will need new methods to secure all this activity, and that is why we are currently sourcing innovative visualization technology that will allow us to drill down into those events to see which ones are malicious and which ones are benign. This technology will help us to pinpoint problems in the incredible volume of information and bolster security throughout the grid to prevent cyber exploitation. We also have received a $30 million grant from the Department of Energy to create a wireless system to cover the entire range of the smart grid, as well as enhance security by providing a robust, centralized way to manage this system. I hope you're getting the idea of the myriad benefits that will become possible with the new smart grid system. But with each new benefit comes a new security risk. And I want to reemphasize that much of this is hypothetical, as the smart grid is still in its infancy. But we must start planning and building the grid securely so our customers will be sure to have the reliable energy they need to power their lives in this exciting new era of enhanced customer awareness and control. Now that I've discussed a little bit with you in detail the smart grid and its benefits, I'd like to turn to another related topic that is transforming the utility industry, and that is namely renewable energy. The need for renewable energy and the real threats of pollution, loss of environment, and climate change are staples of life in the 21st century. Lowering carbon emissions and generating clean power that is cost-effective and environmentally sound are among the most urgent challenges we face today. Answering these great challenges is also one of the most important things that we can do to preserve our world for generations to come. California is leading the charge on this issue and has set aggressive goals for all investor-owned utilities. By the year 2020, the state expects utilities to receive 33% of their electricity from renewable resources and reduce greenhouse gas emissions to the 1990 levels. These goals send an incredibly powerful message that California intends to lead the new green economy. These goals will not be easy to achieve. New infrastructure and control systems across the grid are needed to incorporate renewable energy in a way that will make the vision a reality. The main challenge that renewable energy presents at this point in time is not necessarily its production, but rather its integration into the grid. As I mentioned earlier, these new cleaner forms of renewable energy, wind and solar, tend to be intermittent in nature. The key is to integrate it into the grid without sacrificing reliability. This will require the addition of control systems across the network, and it is yet another way that the smart grid will play a vital new role. This fluctuation in supply that is a hallmark of renewable energy is also a potential threat to our critical infrastructure, and one that must be addressed from a grid security perspective, as I'll discuss in a minute. But before we address the problem of intermittency and the reliability in more detail, I'd like to first talk about where we are with developing renewable energy and connecting it to the grid in order to begin implementing these historic changes. SDG&E is currently pursuing a two-tiered approach to renewable energy. On the one hand, we are developing local and in-basin solar and wind energy generation projects that will help distribute power throughout our service territory. Last year, we gained the California Public Utilities Commission's approval for the largest local solar power initiative ever in San Diego, which will generate 100 megawatts of photovoltaic solar energy. Under the initiative, 26 megawatts of utility-owned generation would be slated for construction on existing SDG&E property, with the remaining 74 megawatts to be purchased from small independent power producers ranging in size from 1 to 5 megawatts. In addition to this program, San Diegans themselves are installing rooftop solar panels at an ever-increasing rate and can sell back power to the utility. With nearly 15,000 rooftop solar installations, San Diego has one of the highest rates of solar panel installation in the country. Rooftop solar produces more than 110 megawatts of distributed generation that feeds directly into our grid. We are also making great strides in securing contracts with larger utility-scale renewable projects, which will leverage the ideal solar, geothermal, and wind resources that can be found in San Diego County, Imperial County, and Baja California region in Mexico. Since January, SDG&E has signed more than a dozen new renewable contracts for a combined total of 1,250 megawatts, which is enough power for approximately 575,000 homes. Many of these contracts are taking advantage of the great wind resources we have on the ridges of eastern San Diego County and the abundant sunshine we have in the Imperial Valley. These contracts range from 315 megawatts for the wind from Pattern Wind, to 2 contracts with Tenaska Solar Ventures for 280 megawatts of photovoltaic solar power, all located in the Imperial Valley. These contracts show the immense potential for renewable energy development in the greater San Diego, Imperial Valley, and Baja region, which some have calculated that the total available in the region to approach 12,000 megawatts. That's enough power for 6.6 million homes. SDG&E is already making great strides in tapping these resources and fulfilling California's aggressive mandates for renewable energy. In 2010, SDG&E received 11.9% of its power from renewable resources. We will reach a significant milestone of 20% by the end of this year, and 29% in the year 2015, provided that the projects are developed on time. Given the incredible potential for clean energy production already in the process of being realized, we need a new means of transmission to bring these resources from the remote deserts and mountains where they are produced into our cities and our towns. That is why we are currently constructing the $1.9 billion 117-mile Sunrise PowerLink transmission line project, which will connect San Diego to Imperial County, where much of the renewable energy originates. We are making great progress on this 500 kV project and are approximately 50% complete, with scheduled completion in mid-2012. All these efforts will help us integrate more renewable energy, which will ultimately reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote a cleaner environment. California's aggressive renewable energy mandates are the gold standard when it comes to clean energy, and we are really setting the agenda for the entire nation to follow. Now, back to the challenges that integration of this clean energy poses to the basic integrity and security of the grid. As I mentioned earlier, chief among these issues is the intermittency of solar and wind resources. These resources, by nature, are liable to have great swings and ebbs in supply. If a cloud moves across a solar panel field or the wind stops blowing on a wind farm, it can cause a significant problem for the electric grid, which has to backfill that lost supply at a moment's notice. That is where renewable energy also becomes a security issue. We need to maintain integrity and reliability for our critical infrastructure as we bring more intermittent resources online. The many fluctuations of renewable energy have the potential to put an enormous strain on the power grid. The new Smart Grid program is designed to counter this through new technology that senses and accounts for any vulnerabilities in real time. For example, we are adopting smart sensors on the grid that can tell us if we have a drop in voltage or overheating on the grid due to too much energy. Smart switches will then move energy around the grid to keep the power at a level state. In order to do this, information has to be conveyed and analyzed very quickly with enhanced communication systems that can tell the inverters and the capacitors and the switches to make sure that the energy quality on the grid remains intact. Let's say a cloud moves in front of the sun and causes many solar panels to stop producing power. Sensors would pick up the drop in the solar energy and immediately switch the battery power to keep the power flowing. If the cloudy weather continues for a greater length of time, perhaps natural gas peaker plants would kick in and maintain the energy flow, while the batteries move into recharge mode. This whole process needs to happen within seconds, and in such a way that third parties cannot tamper with it. That's why these new sensors are so crucial to grid security. And something that a lot of people don't know, it could also be a question of having too much energy as opposed to too little energy. Say it's a particularly sunny day and too much solar energy is moving through the wires on the grid, which could potentially start affecting their integrity. The automatic sensor equipment of the smart grid would sense the threat and reroute that excess energy to another part of the system. It's all about evening out voltage and keeping the energy supply calm and consistent, similar to the smooth surface of a pond. We want to make sure that the surface is always smooth. If we get too many ripples either way, problems can occur. The smart grid, with its system awareness and flexibility, is imperative to integrating large amounts of renewable energy to our world. There is so much rooftop solar and utility-scale solar power coming into the system now that we have many sensors being placed on the system, and still many, many more to come. This sensor-based switching technology is an integral part of the smart grid rollout and will hopefully serve as a model for many other utilities in the country to follow. As you can see, there are so many new issues in play here that it would be extremely difficult to anticipate every need before implementing this system on a large scale. That's why, before we adopt this smarter, greener grid for our entire customer base, we are testing many of these technologies on a small scale. SDG&E has received a $10 million grant from the Department of Energy and the California Energy Commission to build a microgrid in our service territory, one of the first in the nation to employ smart grid technology on a small scale to see what works and what does not. The project will be a laboratory in action using real customers and novel technology, including tapping into customer-owned clean power sources such as rooftop solar and storing the energy in large batteries on-site for later use. The microgrid is being set up in Borrego Springs in the Southern California desert, which is an ideal place to engineer and test how technology and renewables such as solar power can be integrated effectively. Theoretically, this microgrid will be able to survive a system outage and keep supplying power to its customers. It does this by having enough local generation, rooftop solar, and batteries to withstand an interruption and run on its own. It's all about being more resilient and able to withstand greater degrees of stress on the system. This vision of technology and renewable energy working seamlessly together will not happen overnight. It will take commitment and dedication on the part of everyone in this room and also on the part of the public at large. The fact that we are here at this symposium tackling these difficult issues shows we are ready to undertake these exciting changes with all the challenges and all the rewards that they will bring. The U.S. power grid currently includes 160,000 miles of high voltage transmission lines set between 14,000 substations. SDG&E, along with other utilities across the nation, is adding millions of smart meters and constructing hundreds of miles of new transmission lines, much of it to access the remote and local locations that are favorable to renewable energy generation. When this system is fully upgraded with smart technology and new transmission that taps renewable resources, America will have a safer, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly energy system for everyone. It will create jobs and lay a foundation for continued economic growth and prosperity for the nation. It is analogous to the move from Ma-Bell landline phones of the 50s to what we know today in the telecommunications world. This new era presents us with the opportunity to harness the power of the sun and wind to generate a new tomorrow, while giving people awareness and freedom of choice as to how they want to use that power. We are committed to making these historic changes in a way that preserves the security of our grid and the safety and privacy of those who use it. We recognize that this formidable task is so critical to the project that our every move must be infused with the desire to protect and implement it. If we seize the moment to create a new and smarter grid with special attention to preserving its integrity, we will have responded to one of the great callings of our time. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair once said the following, and I quote, "This is a moment to seize. The kaleidoscope has been shaken. The pieces are in flux. Soon they will settle again. But before they do, let us reorder this world around us." So it is with the smart grid and renewable energy. We have the opportunity to work together to create a network that supports our communities, providing power that energizes our modern lifestyles and fuels economic growth through green technology. Never has the time been as ripe to take advantage of this technology. The smart grid will illuminate the way towards a better future, one with untold promise, as long as we manage the risks. This future shines all the brighter because of the hard work and dedication of all of you in this room. Thank you for being a part of this historic transformation, and I am proud for its epicenter to be here in San Diego, and proud to be one of the leaders to create history by helping to transform America's last monopoly. Thank you very much.